So what's happening? We're back out here again. Back at it. So we got the trunk extension on. We were contemplating on replacing the whole thing. So started to look at the spot welds and everything, and it just looked like it was going to be way too time consuming, because there's a spot weld here for it, because it's sandwiched in between all this, and there looks like there's a spot weld right there for it. So didn't think we were going to be able to get it out of there all that awfully easy. So we just decided we'll just cut it off and put it in. One of the reasons why we took so much off is because if you look back here, this was all starting to rot away on it. So I wanted to try and replace as much of this as possible, because this was just going to cause us problems in the end, because this was starting to get pretty crappy. These holes here from where they drilled and poppered that other panel on, and then up here just looks like it was just rusting out. It was rusting out down here, and it just wasn't looking good. So that's why we took so much out, because this piece actually just slips in. It just slips in behind here. It really isn't attached to anything. There's a piece that goes up here and attaches up behind the tail panel, but you got to take all this off, and that's going to be pretty involving. So we decided we're just going to tack it the whole way across. Nothing gets tacked back here. Actually, your quarter panel comes back in and it slips in front of that, and I don't think anything attaches to it. I think it just swings in the breeze. So I don't know. At least that's how it looks on this. I mean, it wasn't tack welded to the tail panel or anything, so I don't know. I mean, it wasn't spot weld, and we can't tell if there's any spot. It doesn't look like there's any spot welds in it. And of course, we've come to find out that a lot of this car is galvanized. Yeah. That they have a galvanized coating on everything. Now this part here is galvanized. The tail panel, the inner and outer tail panel are galvanized. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Yeah. Didn't realize all this stuff was galvanized. So, what else did we get done? Well, we took this bracket off here because we were contemplating on just replacing this whole piece, and then we decided, the heck with it, we'll just splice it in, because the amount of time and energy it was going to take to get this separated and get this apart back here and everything, we just said the heck with it. And
it's a good piece. There's really no reason.
Yeah, there's no reason to replace it. There's none. I mean, it's still attached good up here. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not rusted. We'll just have to put some seam seal back in there. But since we took this bracket out and dug all the seam seal out, we are able to straighten this section out, because this, if you remember from the last videos, this section was creased real bad in the center, and when I started cleaning it up, we ended up having some rust holes in it, because this is actually the quarter panel. This isn't the tail, this is actually the quarter. So we cleaned it up and we welded up the holes that were there, and I took a hammer and dolly and we beat this as straight as we could get it, which makes it a whole lot easier for us on this new quarter, because now instead of coming down here and cutting across and going down, we could actually just cut out here and cut down and butt up against it, and then come over and then fit it behind the tail panel. So it's going to save us a little bit in the way of fitting, because this probably would have been a real nightmare to try and fit everything up. So that's about all we got done today, which is quite a bit. So at least we got the trunk drop off on. That's part of the battle. We got this straightened out, which helps us in fitting the quarter panel, because with this crunched in like it was, we were just hoping to use the piece on the quarter and then on the skin and then just butt it up here. But now, since we got this fairly straight and in some sort of shape, now we can come out here and cut it instead, and that'll just make it a lot easier to fit it and go up against it instead of having to get into all this intricate stuff over in here. So that's about it.
Outer tub next.
Outer tub is what we got to do next, and then we start fitting the quarter.
Yeah.
So everything's just like the drop off is just tacked in case we need to move it or adjust. And then the next part is to get the inner tub and tack that in and get that positioned and measured out and where we need it, and then cut the quarter up and then start fitting that. So
Hang metal.
yeah, I'm starting to get into stuff. So I think we've tackled and fixed all the accident damage that we have found that is going to screw us in one way or another.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty on track now that we've beat everything straight and fixed everything that seemed to be an issue. So I'm hoping everything will go smooth from here.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby
Just
steps.
baby steps.
Exactly. So this looks pretty, that came out pretty good.
Yeah.
Came out nice. Like I said, you know, I didn't want to use it all, but the problem was is that all the way up in here, that panel where it slipped in behind here was all full of rust. I mean, we could have left it, but seeing that it wasn't tacked or held in with anything, and we knew if we cut it off it would come out, I mean, that's what we did. Because that other piece was gonna, it would have ended, I mean, it may not have bit us in the ass anytime soon, but it probably would have come back to haunt us if we didn't cut it out of there. Because you could see how crappy it was getting up in this area. You know, we thought it was rotted away, and when we pulled it out, we were actually surprised to see how solid, as it's solid as it is, but it's still rusting away. And then we had this issue here. So, I mean, we had some issues going on with this lip here. So it was probably a good thing we took it out of there, Tom. Because, you know, it just would have been time, you know, sooner or later it would have just rusted that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe not in my lifetime, I don't know. Who knows? But I'm pretty happy. Like, what's that?
Yeah. Looks nice to have a new piece of metal swung.
I know.
Like the welders on, I hope you can't. Till we get,
No, we got to fit everything and make sure what's going to fit is going to fit. So, because we actually took a little bit more of the wheel well out, so that it would make it easier for us to fit that instead of a long, you know, like a long thin piece to go around the lip. Which isn't a big deal, we'll just butt it into the tub. Just makes it easier to fit it, because then you don't have this flimsy piece walking all around when you're trying to fit it up.
Yeah, it'll make fitting much easier with a solid piece.
Yeah, something bigger to work with.
Like we were going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we got to do some.
Yeah, we got to do some fitting in over here. We got to figure a lot of things.
It would have been a
Yeah.
bit of a challenge.
Well, the other thing is too, once we get it hung in here, you know, we'll probably put a couple tacks in here and around there, and then we'll fit the quarter on, and we'll see how everything lines up with this. You know.
Adjusting the back of it.
Yeah, we're.
The measurements. The
Yeah.
front's good.
The front's good.
From
We think.
the other side,
we-
measuring the other side. The front's good.
Yeah, well, we're trying to. Problem is we're trying to gauge something off the other side of the car. That's the side that got hit.
There's only a couple good spots.
Yeah, and we're not sure how far off. I mean, stuff could even be off from the factory, from when they put it together too. So I mean, it's nothing's written in stone. But we're actually hanging a little. We got a little bit extra here.
Quarter inch.
Yeah, quarter inch here, and then we're right on the money here.
Yeah, the front.
Yeah.
From measuring the other side, the front
Is on the money.
Right there.
But until we get the quarter up here and put against here and see how tight everything fits against the flange, I mean, that's pretty much, you know, we're not going to know.
No.
So.
Hang that quarter up.
So that's this weekend's progress. At least we put a piece of a new metal on it. Got that far, and we fixed a dent and straightened out the quarter panel so we can make it more user friendly for us. So All right, that's going to be about it.